There's a version of freedom nobody talks about enough. Not the loud kind, not the I quit my job and move across the world kind. I'm talking about the quiet moment, the moment where something inside of you shifts. And even though your life looks exactly the same on the outside, you know internally that you can never go back to being who you used to be. That's what I'm talking about today, because I truly believe there are women listening to this episode right now who is standing in that exact moment. Not fully healed, not fully cleared, and not fully free yet. But something inside of you is waking up. And once this happens, survival mode starts to feel uncomfortable. Welcome to Activate Your Freedom with Nakeisha Geddes, a space for women who are ready to move beyond survival mode into clarity, structure, and intentional living. I'm Nakeisha Geddes, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and someone who understands what it means to carry many roles while still hearing the deeper call to become. Here we have honest conversation about healing, identity, leadership, faith, business, and the practical shift required to build a life that truly aligns with who you are becoming. If you know there are more for you than just simple managing life, then this is the space for you. Let's begin. Welcome back to Activate Your Freedom. I'm Nakeisha Geddes, and today's episode is deeply personal because I want to talk about what it actually looks and feel like when a woman stops surviving and starts choosing herself. Not the Instagram version, not the motivational quote version, the real version, the quiet shift, the internal release. The moment you finally exhale after spending years holding everything together. Because for me, it wasn't one dramatic event. It was an ordinary moment, a quiet, simple, but life-changing event. And this moment was one day I was just sitting in the back area of my workplace and something just came over me. And I realized that I was unhappy. And not unhappy with the progress that I've made within my life, because honestly, have come a long way. I've achieved a lot. But internally, I was unhappy because I wasn't living the life that I don't even know what it was. I wasn't living the type of life that I thought I would have lived. There was dreams and hope that I forgot about. And in that moment, I realized that I was choosing to be someone else for everyone, and I had no idea who I was. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that's the moment that changed everything for me. I started asking myself if this is it, if this is what my life is going to look like. And if I stay right here, what will retirement look like for me? And the future looked very dark and depressing. For years, I was functioning. And if I'm honest, I become very good at functioning, showing up, handling responsibilities, and building the life that I thought was the life that I wanted. Taking care of people, pushing through exhaustion. Trust me, there was a time I was doing 2 jobs, school and raising a family. I was being strong for everyone. And to the point where some people would call me super mom. And from the outside, it probably looked like I was doing well. But internally, I was tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. Not just physically tired, my soul was tired. I had spent so much time surviving that I didn't even realize survival mode has become my identity. I normalized pressure. I normalized overthinking. I normalized carrying everything. I normalized abandoning myself to keep everything else moving. And one day, something shifted. And that was the day in the parking lot of my workplace. Not because my life suddenly became easier, but because internally I could no longer ignore myself. I was in a quiet space with no interruption, and I was able to reflect on the life that I was currently living and recognize that there was so much that was missing. I remember feeling this overwhelming sense of relief, like I had been holding my breath for years. And finally, I exhaled. And the craziest part, nothing dramatic happened externally. The world didn't stop. The sky didn't open. There was no huge announcement. But internally, I changed in that moment because I started to get that feeling of more. I started to realize I didn't want to live in constant survival mode. I didn't want to keep choosing pressure over peace. And I didn't want success to cost me myself. And I knew there are women listening right now who understand exactly what I mean. Maybe your shift happened quietly too. Maybe it happened while driving home in silence. Maybe it happened after everybody went to sleep. Maybe it happened in the middle of a burnout. Or maybe it happened when you looked in the mirror and realized you didn't recognize yourself anymore. Or maybe you're in the moment right now where your spirit is trying to tell you this version of you can't go with me into the next season. And that realization can feel scary because when you have spent years surviving, choosing yourself can feel unfamiliar. Sometimes guilt shows up, trust me, especially when you have kids. Sometimes fear show up because you start thinking, what if I fail? How can I choose something different? Or you start telling yourself you don't know how. Sometimes you question everything, but I need you to hear me clearly. Wanting peace does not make you selfish. Wanting more for yourself does not make you ungrateful. And needing rest does not make you weak. And freedom isn't always about leaving everything behind. Sometimes freedom starts with honesty. Honesty about what's draining you. Honesty about noticing what no longer aligns with you. And honesty about the version of yourself you have outgrown. I think so many women are silently grieving themselves. The woman they could have been, the dreams they buried. Because trust me, I buried a lot of dreams. The joy they postponed for years. I stopped celebrating myself, but I celebrated everyone around me. The version of themselves they abandoned while trying to survive. And eventually, your body feels it. Your mind feels it. Your spirit feels it. Because survival mode may protect you for a season, but it was never meant to become your permanent home. And the turning point, it usually doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives quietly. It shows up as exhaustion, as awareness, as clarity, has a whisper inside you saying, there has to be more than this. Trust me. I remember that moment where, you know, I just kept looking around and just saying, there has to be more. This cannot be it. I had 20 something years to retirement, and this cannot be it. If I retired like this, and if this is it, how sad my life was going to be. And the moment you finally listen, everything started to change. So if you're listening to this episode and you feel something shifting, don't ignore it. That discomfort may actually be your awakening. The restlessness may be your next season calling you. And maybe your life doesn't fully change overnight, But the moment you choose yourself internally, the moment you stop abandoning your peace, the moment you finally exhale, that's where freedom begins. Not when everything becomes perfect, but when you stop betraying yourself just to survive. And I just want to say to you, thank you for being here with me for another episode of Activate Your Freedom with Nakeisha Geddes. If this episode speaks to you, share it with another woman who's been carrying too much silently. And if you've been enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and continue sharing these conversations because we're building something powerful today. And remember, you don't need permission to choose yourself. You just need the courage to finally exhale. Before we close, I want to leave you with this. Just because you've learned how to function doesn't mean you have to stay there. Freedom starts with awareness, with honesty, with choosing to listen to yourself in a deeper way. If this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to go deeper, make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. This is Activate Your Freedom, and your next level starts with you.